All right, here is a quick video, and it is not of the quality that you are used to nor deserving of here on Death by Bungie. How about that? I'm going to shoot it on my phone real quick because I'm getting ready to install. By the time you see this, I will have already revealed Genevieve's Broadhead choice for the upcoming Death by Bungie meet and greet, the second ever Death by Bungie meet and greet. And I will also have revealed that it's the Rage TRYPAN CROSSBOW 150 grain. And here is a package of them. We will have already revealed that. And we will know by now whether or not they're going to work and what kind of penetration she gets on a wild boar with Bunjie Jr. with a ProFlight arrow, 150 grain broadhead on those ProFlight 16.5-inch arrows. This is the package, and I'm going to pull this in a little bit right here. The confusing thing, if you look, there are, in that package, there's shock collars. I have no problem with shock collars, very easy to install. I can do a video on that if you like. But there are metal washers in there, and I will pull this around on here. If you look down here, look at that. Look at this clutter in this garage. Well, we are not quite moved in yet, so cut me a break, okay? But see those little metal washers right there? There's a difference in weight. It actually changes. They weigh about 5 grains, 8 grains, something like that. I forget what the number was. But I weighed them 2 times. One with the washer, one without. A little bit difference in weight. It looked to me like they were intended to be used. However, if you are a rageaholic like I am and you buy the package, look at this. The package does not talk about how to install the washers. In fact, it doesn't suggest that those washers need to be installed. What's up with that? What is up with that? So I just did a generic Google search. It actually came up and said, oh yeah, I called Rage and they said do not install the washer. And they only include the metal washer for packaging purposes to hold the collar in place in the packaging. Well, if you look at the packaging, that can't be true. I mean, it doesn't even hold. Look at that. They're in the little tube there. They're not on the broadhead. So it's not like, that's just BS. I mean, the guy's just pulling people's legs. So just like you got to take what you get on Death by Bungie with a grain of salt, you have to take everything on the internet with a grain of salt. But that's part of being a thinking human being now, isn't it? So I texted him. I got a live chat going with Kyle, one of the Faradyne folks there. And I got confirmation for what it's worth that you do install the washer, which makes sense to me because that's what puts you up to the 150 grains. Nice view of the insulated garage ceiling. Anyway, I want to show you how it goes on here. These little shock collars, don't get confused by this stuff and don't get nervous about it. There's your broadhead, real easy. The little red shock collar slides on. It really only can go on one way. You will see that there's a sort of a groove in the ferrule of that broadhead, right? See if we can get it in focus. This phone's doing a pretty good job. But there's that, and then this has teeth in it. If you look at this little guy, we'll get him over there where you can see him. Can you see that? Oh, yeah, you can see it. Those little grooves, this thing kind of only goes on one way. See those little grooves? Basically, you slide it up that ferrule, up that shaft there, and it's going to go on a certain way, and it wants to, it won't go on wrong, okay? Just make sure the blades are closed, like that, like I got them, and then you're just going to slide that up there into those notches. With the other ones, you had to finesse the tabs a little bit more. This one really likes it that way. And then we're just going to take our washer, and if you put it on sideways like this, it's going to fall off. You're going to lose it on the floor, and you won't be able to find it. To avoid that, hold your broadhead up, let gravity do the work for you. Slip it on like that. Everybody's happy right there. And then before you tip it over and lose it, grab your ProFlight arrow or other suitable arrow, your other broadhead delivery device. How's that for a new term on Death by Bungie? And we're going to slide that on there and just start screwing it down. Now, as long as those little tabbies don't let them jump out of the tabs, okay? Don't let the little feet there on the blades jump out of the tabs, and just tighten it down and kaboom, there you go. That's a good looking broadhead installation. And you got the nice hypodermic type point here. That's why I chose these for Genevieve. And she was a little disappointed that she's not using a Rage crossbow hypodermic, but those were 100 grain. I couldn't find a 150 grain crossbow Rage hypodermic. These were the next best thing. I wanted her to have the same Death by Bungie experience with those big cutting diameter and all that. She's got a faster crossbow, and I want to increase penetration a little bit, increase front of center a little bit with a 150 grain broadhead. That has proven to be a very good choice because if you've watched our videos, she's shooting pretty accurate, pretty consistently accurate, and I'm proud of her. So we're out to 40 yards right now. I haven't shot past that with that crossbow. We might before deer season, who knows. But she is more than ready for our upcoming boar hunt, which, again, you probably already know how that's gone by the time that you see this video. But that's a properly installed broadhead right there. I like that. I think that's ready to go kill some deer or hogs or elephants or whatever else you find in the woods. For what it's worth, these things fly 100% identical to field points. We tested them today in the backyard. That's why I'm all sweaty and grimy looking. Scurfy looking. If you are familiar with my book, you know that's what the word scurf means. And what scurfy describes, that's in my book, The Death by Bunjie, Crossbow Story, Confessions of a Crossbow Hunter. A new chronicle, a new chapter of the book being written as we speak with Genevieve and the Rage TRYPAN crossbow broadhead. How cool is that? Really, really like this broadhead. I might switch myself, I don't know, but it's hard for me to give up my Rage crossbow hypodermic. I have probably a dozen packages of them stored up because I really like them. But I want to point out that we've already sacrificed one of them. You can see the, probably see the foam in there where we shot this at the target already, at the block target. Pulled right out, but boy, it does a lot of hurting on the target. But we used one of them that did not come with a practice head. Can you believe that? But that's going to be a nice cut. Another thing that's worth mentioning here, these tabs on these collars, these shot collars, they're going to be single use. Once that you have shot them, you're going to have to go to a different shot collar because unlike the Rage crossbow hypodermic, what I would do is just rotate that shot collar to 2 new tabs. And if you use those, you kind of know what I'm talking about. With these TRYPANs, that shot collar is molded and goes in a certain way. It can't be rotated, which isn't a problem. They give you lots of them. So, and I don't reuse broadheads for what that's worth. I use them for, I use a fresh one every time. Other little tip with the broadheads, and I do it with my Rage crossbow hypodermics. I did it with my X-Act that I used before I switched over to Rage. And I did it with the bolt cutters that I have used, the other Excalibur broadheads I used in the past. This is season number 3 with Rage, though, for what it's worth. But I always when I take an arrow out of the quiver, get ready to load it, I always take that arrow out and I hold it away from my head so as not to poke myself in the ear or cut my cheek or anything like that. But I hold it loose in my hand like this and just sort of wiggle it and listen to see if I hear any jangling going on. If I hear jangling going on with that broadhead, it tells me one of 2 things. One, that the shot collar is not properly installed. I got to look at that. Or it tells me, 2, the other possibility is that it's loose and it just needs to be carefully tightened up. I don't ratchet them down. I just do them hand tight, finger tight. But I want that to be ready to go, and I want it to hold in place, obviously, when it's going through the air. And I don't want any jangling going on. I don't want any movement going on in that broadhead. So make sure and I just do that by holding it like that, listening. You can hear, you know what you're listening for, and you'll hear it. Once you do that, these things, I can't wait. Can't wait. Almost there. Until next time. Enjoy the rest of Crossbow Appreciation Month. Oh, and all hail Bunjie. I'm having a blast with this. I hope you are too.
I grew up in Bradford County in PA. We're from counties not